Ryan and I are going to take turns. We've got 7 questions. We're going to trade off. And you are going to be limited to no more than 30 seconds to answer any of these. Ryan, kick it off.
James Cook or Dalvin Cook?
I'm going James Cook all day. Projected to be a running back 1 on an offense that has been top 3 in scoring for 3 straight years. I don't really trust Latavius Murray or Damian Harris behind him, and I think that he could see a super high target share. Josh Allen, one of the rare quarterbacks to target running backs at an above average rate, and that target rate to running backs has gone up each of the last 3 years.
Let's talk about grinder backs on good offenses. Isiah Pacheco or J.K. Dobbins?
Well, I'm going to lean J.K. Dobbins. I know Isiah Pacheco is really interesting, but they've shown to be a little bit more heavy on a committee, where I'm a big believer in what this Ravens offense can do. And I think that when healthy, that J.K. Dobbins was a much more elite prospect. He's shown a much higher ceiling so far in the NFL. And I think that purely off of that and the fact that he might catch more passes in this newer Ravens offense that might favor pass catching running backs slightly more, I'm going to give the edge to J.K. Dobbins because he has the pass catching potential.
Alex, I've done division by division, team by team record predictions this season. I'm doing power rankings this season too. I've bet on the Bengals and Cowboys in the Super Bowl. Who do you have playing in the big dance?
Oh man, I'm a Jalen Hurts guy. He famously had said rent is due every day. I think that the Eagles are going to be paying their rent back to a Super Bowl victory. And the one team that probably should have been there by now hasn't been there by now and has probably been due for at least 3 years has to be the Buffalo Bills. I know it's the cheesy answer that a lot of people will have, but I think that the Eagles are going to find a way back, and I think the Bills are very due to find their way to the AFC Championship.
Ryan and I are both Tyler Conklin guys. We're Juwan Johnson guys. There's a few of these later round tight ends that we get excited about. I've held my nose a couple times recently and drafted Zach Ertz, who's somehow in his mid-30s with an above average recovery time from the ACL last year. Give us your favorite late round tight end.
Oh man, I think that this is a stat that I literally thought of going to sleep when I was just trying to sleep, and I started thinking about fantasy football, and I started thinking about Gerald Everett because that's what I do late in my nights apparently. But Gerald Everett's played 6 seasons. He's improved his fantasy points per game. Total fantasy points all 6 years. I don't know how that's possible. It probably just means he's really bad, but he's actually gone up every single year for 6 straight years. And you throw in the fact that Kellen Moore is now the offensive coordinator. Maybe they'll have a favorable tight end, kind of similar to that Dalton Schultz role that we saw. And I think that I'm a mega believer in Justin Herbert. And I think that maybe off of touchdowns that Gerald Everett finds his way into his first career top 12 finish.
Who's the highest scoring rookie wide receiver this season?
Oh man, it's Jordan Addison, baby. I wanted to. I would have said Jackson Smith and Jigba maybe before this wrist injury, but the more I've done my research and you look at target competition, production profiles, and the roles that some of these guys are going to be in, it's got to be Jordan Addison all day, every day, twice on Sunday.
Quarterbacks go earlier this year than they ever have before. Who's your quarterback 1 for 2023? Because if you're making an early pick, we want to make sure that we nail that early pick.
I think it's got to be Jalen Hurts. Again, Super Bowl prediction, what we had last year. Again, the Eagles were 24th in pass attempts, I believe, off the top of my head, and Jalen Hurts was still the quarterback 1 in fantasy points per game. I know he had a lot of rushing touchdowns, but they didn't get rid of the tush push. He's going to get more of those. They're going to throw the ball a little bit more. And like you said, they had the easiest schedule in the NFL. They didn't have to throw the ball. You had almost non-existent fantasy points in the fourth quarter. Again, he can start to throw the ball a little bit, play in the fourth quarter for fantasy football purposes. I think that he is going to be the quarterback 1.
The big decision at the 2-3 turn this year involves 2 secondary options in elite offenses. You taking T. Higgins or DeVonta Smith?
Oh man, that is a tough one. DeVonta Smith has had a better career high finish and is a younger overall player. With me also backing the Eagles, with me backing Jalen Hurts, I think logic would have to have me side with DeVonta Smith here. But again, like I mentioned, higher career fantasy finish, and he is younger. I'm going to go with him because he's been able to do it on a lower volume passing offense as well.
Catch more of the conversation only on the 33rd Team Podcast Network, wherever you get your podcasts.